What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Oleksandr Usyk, Joyce. This fight could be ordered from the WBO. Okay, the Hall of Fame promoter who represents Joyce and co-promoter Fury has revealed that the preliminary talks have already taken place for Usyk versus Joyce. Ukrainian's undisputed cruiserweight champion, of course, moved up to heavyweight in 2019 and took up his option as WBO super champion to become the mandatory challenger. He awaited his turn while AJ fought Andy Ruiz and Kubrat Pulev and is now due for his shot. However, Joshua wants to unify against Tyson Fury, and the WBO seemingly do not intend to deprive fans from seeing a rare undisputed fight with all belts at stake. Warren said this. He says, "We're working on, at the moment, Usyk and Joyce." He says, "I think that the WBO will order that as an interim title fight, so we're working hard to make that happen." The situation is that the WBO has said that they like to do the fight as an eliminator. We have no objection to that, and I don't think Usyk has either. There has been some preliminary talks, and we'll see where we go from there. I hope it will happen. It's a good fight. And I think whoever wins it, based on his last performance, Joe's looking really good. If it comes through, it puts the winner in a tremendous position. The eventual winner of the two fights between Tyson Fury and AJ have to defend against Joyce or Usyk or vacate the belt. Now that is that. Now let me counterpunch. It seems like to me that Frank Warren has persuaded the WBO to make Joyce versus Usyk an interim fight. And I think now it's all up to Usyk, because the key word, we don't have any objection to it, and I don't think Usyk has either. See, that think part is the whole thing you need to worry about. That's the whole situation. That's the important factor, because the important factor is if Usyk is already guaranteed the mandatory spot, why would he have to fight Joyce for another mandatory spot? So I think if it comes down to Usyk, because that's where it comes down to, because now the WBO has been shaken up a bit. I think they've got to the point where I think they will be compensated with the sanction and body fees of that huge fight, okay, which is what, 3%. So after all, I think they're fine with that idea, because they know this is going to be a very, very lucrative fight. So at that point, they won't force anything that Usyk will do, but then it's up to Usyk. He is the last man standing in resistance of making that huge fight, because, of course, he's already in line to fight Anthony Joshua. Okay, so WBO's fine with it, but Usyk also has to be fine with it as well. That's what I'm understanding from reading this, because if he's not, that means he can still force the WBO or reply to the WBO and say simply, look, I don't need to fight Joyce for an eliminator. I am the eliminator. I'm the eliminated person of this particular equation already. Therefore, I don't have to get to the finish line, because I've already got to the finish line. Right? So I think that if Usyk, he's willing to take step aside money, I think that's what's going to have to be in place. I think they're going to have to pay the man. If you're going to pay Deontay Wilder some type of step aside, or not even step aside, some type of financial compensation, I think you should pay Oleksandr Usyk as well. As a matter of fact, if I'm Oleksandr Usyk, I would take the role Deontay Wilder played in the negotiations of him and Anthony Joshua in the DAZN meeting, right? And I would simply say, how much is he getting? So if I'm Oleksandr Usyk and they ask me, well, hey, you know, this step aside fee, the first thing I would ask is, well, how much is Deontay Wilder getting? Because that's what the financial situation was about. He wanted money, and I want to match that. then I'll take the fight and fight whoever. So I think Usyk could come out, first of all, getting a lump sum, right? He should take that fight because there's no need for him to fight for an eliminator. He's already that eliminated person. But if you just wanted to fight Joe Joyce, since Joe Joyce is that next guy in line, fine. But why would the WBO go back and do that just by the hands of, or the slick tongue of old fish eyes Frank Warren? Okay, so it's a lot to think about and to deal with when you're dealing with politics, you know, because this is a huge fight. This fight, like I said, it's a big snowball, okay? It's a big snowball, and it's picking up everything, and it's gaining momentum, and it looks like it's going to happen. Usyk could lay down, and I don't see him getting down. I see him, if the WBO makes him fight, I'm not opposed to the fight at all, but I'm just opposed to the idea of him having to fight for the WBO. See, you got to be fair about it. Yes, I want to see Joshua Fury Joshua, however you want to call it, slice it or dice it. But at the end of the day, I do think that Oleksandr Usyk is already in a position to fight Anthony Joshua. So why would he want to fight someone else to fight Anthony Joshua? Because that fight's going on. You know, so I think they should pay him. Okay. Now, as far as the fight with Joe Joyce, it would be a very intriguing fight because Joe Joyce he has momentum. They both have momentum. They're both undefeated. They're both, one's 34, the other one's 35. So they have nothing. They have everything to lose. I can't say they have nothing to lose. They have everything to lose because whoever wins that fight is in the right position, is in a powerful position. Okay, especially on the WBO side, because I think what happens, the WBO is being lenient because of the hugeness, the monstrosity effects of this fight. That's why I think they're like, okay, hey, they're paying us. What do you want from me? Right? Usyk, fight this guy, or, you know, or let this fight happen. You know, but I think if Usyk has no choice and the WBO is making that decision without Usyk, which would be wrong, but if they're doing that because of the hugeness of the magnitude of this fight, oh well, if I'm Oleksandr Usyk, hey, take the fight, beat Joe Joyce, have him something to do. Because in all fairness, if this was going to be the case, this should be when Anthony Joshua drops that WBO belt because Usyk doesn't want to wait and fights Joe Joyce for it. You know, so you could look at it either way. He would be fighting someone for the belt, I feel. Okay, so if that's the case, if he's fighting Joe Joyce for that belt, and then he wants to fight him for an interim belt, that means you're going to fight him for basically a baby junior belt, right? And then you will have a baby junior WBO heavyweight belt because you're the interim WBO. So you do get somewhat of a belt. And I think the WBO would be cool with that because they're still getting sanctioning fees from that also. On top of the huge magnitude fight of whoever wins between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. So it does look good, and it brings you that much step closer to a huge mega fight with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. On top of it brings a La Revancha, right? A rematch against Joe Joyce and Oleksandr Usyk. Either way, I'm fine with. Because somebody's going to have to fight somebody, and somebody else is going to have to fight someone else. So it is what it is. I like that idea. I like the action that's taken. You know, I mean, it's not the greatest for Usyk, but hey, it's something, right? Anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Oleksandr Usyk, the WBO, Frank Warren, Joe Joyce, Anthony Joshua, and Tyson Fury. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.